What, Wildes?
Just can't.
What?
I just can't.
What?
Let me give you a break. Give me a break. First, the one thing that I do think is interesting is you're on a very popular podcast. That podcast is excellent. You have a big microphone. You were just asked about it, but because the hosts of the show are football players, they are absolved from being in the media. It's not, but also, they inquired as well.
I don't care. People are allowed to criticize the media. A large part of our job is criticizing people or giving opinions. I don't care when people criticize us. I do care when what you're saying belies the history. There is really two people, and two people only, responsible for this being a thing. The first one is Stefon Diggs. But even him is not the biggest culprit. You know who the biggest culprit is?
Sean McDermott.
Sean McDermott. Because he's the one who had all the words available to him and chose these two twice. Very concerning. Very concerning. You know when we all took it seriously? This wasn't going to be in our show. No. We weren't talking about the Bills mini camp. We're not in Orchard Park. It was when Hubs texts us. He's like, look at what Sean McDermott said. And Sean McDermott looks ghost-faced, like Stefon Diggs.
We're like, something really wrong?
Pulled Diddy at USC and was throwing stuff. It was like, we are concerned, man. And so that's who his beef is with. His coach sounded the alarm. And then his coach did the same thing the next day and was like, what are you guys talking about? Like it was an out-of-body experience. And then, Brew, the one thing Josh didn't say there was when he was like, yeah, and he was there the next day. And then the day after, which was our 3-day mini camp, well, that day got canceled. And we didn't really explain why, but it was canceled. So he wasn't there, but nobody was there because it was canceled. Give me a break.
I am totally with you. And look, all we did as the media, which is what we're supposed to do, is look at the situation and then we offered our response. And as you said, there's the very concern. He had that whole press conference, not once did he say, and I told him to go home. Yeah. And then the next day he comes back and says that, right? So first you're saying, and Josh he said this in the podcast, but why did the coach tell you to go home? I mean, that has some degree of seriousness. We're just getting together, right? We're just coming together, and now he's sending you home. And then, as you said, they canceled the practice. And on top of that, Stefon Diggs has a history of being unhappy. Yeah. We saw it in Minnesota. It was contractual, but still, we saw it in Minnesota. And then we've seen him on the sidelines here with the histrionics and basically calling Josh out is what it looks like. So, yeah, we put 2 and 2 together and we got 4. And you get mad at us for that? So, no, it's
Trivia question for you, Nick.
Yeah.
Who has the best team chemistry in the NBA?
In the NBA?
In the NBA, who has the best?
I think the Bucks, but...
Okay, give me the other one. We always talk about it.
What's the answer?
Heat culture.
Oh,
Thank you.
That's the best culture. That's not chemistry.
Chemistry
and
culture.
Okay,
Darn,
go
you
ahead.
got it wrong.
Sorry, go ahead.
What was the one team that almost fought each other on the sidelines?
No,
do you remember?
When Spoelstra and Jimmy
were going to physically fight.
And Jimmy was like, or Spoelstra was like, do you want to fight?
Yeah, they were
like
going to
almost
fight.
incredulous.
And they have the best chemistry.
Yeah.
But you know why it wasn't a big deal? Because everybody got up after in the press conference like, yeah, that's what happened. Brothers fight.
Right,
that's what we do. We're a family here. We get into it. We scrap. That's what we want.
Yeah, good point.
There's such a mystery around what this was. It's like, and Josh Allen has to overcompensate every time where he's like, I love him. I would give him my kidney. It's like, I get it. But what was it about? Because now people are left saying, is it his offensive production fell off? Is it targets? Is it money? People are like, he took less money to get to
This is
Hopkins.
why.
There's this
you're
big
absolutely
mix
right.
here.
But it's also why, and this is where I will give Josh credit, because he should be, and maybe he is privately, and is just doing a good job concealing it. He should be furious with McDermott. Furious. Because since we all know that Diggs just got a new contract, and we all know Diggs is as targeted as any receiver in the league, and now Diggs is upset, and the last image we had was in that devastating playoff game, what we just showed, him showing up Josh Allen. Now all of us are left to believe His problem is with this guy.
But do you feel
his
like that's...
problem is, and that's embarrassing for Josh. And we are running that same tape of Diggs yelling at him and showing him up again and again because this is a major story. Now, we can say that's Diggs' fault, but there are a lot of things we go back to. People use this example, but I think it's a smart one, so I will use it as well. How much housekeeping was Mike Tomlin doing the entire Antonio Brown era? He
must have been remarkable.
Remarkable. You know what I mean? And now I do think I do think he has.
He's a different guy than McDermott.
But I think he's saying that AB has gotten more unhinged.
Was he?
But I think he's gotten more. But I think the fact that we heard none of it.
Right.
Well, there was nothing that came out of it.
He was FaceTiming, locker room.
Yeah, Instagram Live. Yeah,
Instagram Live.
And so I just think that it is the head coach's job to not let these brush fires turn into, as Josh Allen said, they're still talking about it. No doubt. Like, again, if you're doing local sports media in Buffalo, there's the Sabres, my apologies, but there's only one other pro sports team. Mm-hmm. The Bills are the biggest story in town. It's the summer. You're talking about this every day.
I don't want to go to media critique on it because part of what makes the NFL perfect is the storylines and the narratives that happen throughout the year. Yeah. And the fact that that video with Stefon and he's on his iPad or whatever, Microsoft Surface, excuse me, that's become the storyline. But we don't run them like giving each other intricate high fives and saying that they love each other. But they were doing that
not in the last game.
Ago. But that's the thing. So that takes on so much gravity when a week before they were best friends. It's a little bit unfair.
At the end of today's show, I scream at Brew and throw my coffee cup. Yeah. And then tomorrow, I'm not here. And Wildes looks into the camera and says, guys, I got to tell you, America, we are concerned. We are very concerned. Then they're not going to replay like, oh, remember when Nick and Brew were laughing about the trumpeters? They're going to be like, I think there's a problem.
I guess that's fair. Let's take a look at the odds to win the AFC. Brew's team, the Chiefs.
Which one?
Well, thank you, Wildes. Thank you.
He said that Mahomes
I was the first to call him Jordan-esque, the first to say potential GOAT, all that.
All documented in Sports Illustrated.
Yep, absolutely.
You also are from Kansas City. Okay. Then it's the Bills. Then it's Brew, your other. These are all.
And the Bills all of these are my teams.
Yeah. So are the Bills more likely to make the Super Bowl or miss the playoffs? Do you want to go, Bruce, since it's all your teams?
I think this will surprise you guys. This is a tough one for me. I think that'll surprise you.
Okay.
That this is a tough call to think. I'm actually considering that they could miss the playoffs. Yeah. Because the AFC is so deep and so tough. I'm going to go with Super Bowl. I'm kind of going with a little heart, and not heart, but just looking at the talent on the roster. The team is talented. Von Miller is back. Leonard Floyd is there. He will be. Okay. Leonard Floyd is there. Now, I think Tre'Davious White has a bounce back season
that's fair
he didn't play well when he came back. Exactly.
That one's fair.
And so they still look. They've been 13-3 2 of the last 3 years. They must be respected. Now, here's why I considered that. Look, they better come out and ball. I think you're going to have two teams from the AFC West, right? Kansas City and whether it's the Chargers or maybe the Broncos,
I knew it.
But you got two from there.
Wait.
Yeah, I'm saying maybe.
Wait, no, but you're leaving. There's 4 teams in the AFC West, and one of them has a quarterback that all he does is win.
It's just bad vibes there.
Okay, all right. So you're off, Jimmy.
You got two from the AFC North.
I agree with
Cincinnati and Baltimore. Those two for sure.
And maybe Pittsburgh if one of them falls off.
Yes, I mean, possibly.
And you like Cleveland.
One from your AFC South.
Yeah, the Prince.
Probably Jacksonville, maybe. Yeah. All right, and then that leaves two from the AFC East. And look, they got 3 legitimately good teams.
So
Miami,
you don't like
the Jets and the Bills.
Okay. Stop with the Jets.
They do.
Hold on.
Stop
but
with the Jets.
I'm going with the Bills, but there's a lot of.
To me, this is a very easy question. Are the Bills more likely to make the playoffs or miss the playoffs? They're more likely to make the playoffs. Of course. But are they more likely to make the Super Bowl? Make the Super Bowl or miss the playoffs? It's obviously miss the playoffs. Show me the playoff teams from last year if we could. Colin did something on this yesterday, and it is worth noting. every year, there is a minimum of 6 teams that made that then miss. It's usually about 7, but call it 6. Everyone is going to pick the same ones, by the way. People are like, oh, the Giants and the Seahawks and the Bucks and the Vikings fall off.
Yep.
Okay, but even if that's true, you got to find some AFC ones. And you also almost assuredly have to find a team that everyone thinks is going to be really good that falls off.
Yep.
I don't know. What are you raising your hand about?
Nothing, I'm just saying.
What? Go ahead.
I think the Dolphins fall off.
Okay, that's fine.
You got your 3? Go ahead.
That's the Dolphins.
You see 3
I think
or 6?
Jacksonville falls off.
Okay, but here's the problem with the Jacksonville thing. Even if that's
It's a bad
true,
division.
that doesn't open a
It's a
playoff
bad
spot.
division.
And so that's just an AFC South winner thing, and Jacksonville's not going to fall off. Doesn't matter. Point is, the Bills, given their schedule, given the disharmony of the offseason, given the fact that Josh Allen the last 2 months of the year played the worst football he's played in 3 years, given the fact that they got rolled in a home playoff game, and Sean McDermott is now also the defensive coordinator in addition to the head coach, they're a prime candidate to all of a sudden be like, damn, 10 wins and it wasn't enough. And missed the playoffs in that division. And they're not making the Super Bowl.
Okay. That week 1 game against the Jets is going to be a nerve-wracking game. Some people are going to start freaking out immediately. Yeah. Whoever loses that game.
No, you're right. It's going to tell us a lot.
In 4 short minutes, everyone.
Yeah.
We're talking about the Prince.
Yeah.
That's the Prince.
We might have some special guests
in his first half of his first playoff.
5 in the playoffs, led the league.
Yeah, come on.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.